One of the most underrated games of this weekend is Toledo versus Miami of Ohio. Now, if you're not a deep college football fan, you haven't expanded your fandom, this is a great opportunity to do so. Both teams are 6-1 and are competing for a chance to sit at the top of the MAC. Now, they're both in different divisions, so this will be an interesting matchup to watch. And when you're looking at what they've done so far, I think both teams have surprised us in certain ways. And we'll talk about more in detail what each team can do to continue their success. Now, there is a strong chance that Toledo could be undefeated still. When you look at the Illinois game, they went down and scored and then gave up a last second game winning field goal to the Illini. So if you're looking at this team, they could be undefeated. And at times they've looked like they're a team on a mission, and then at times they've looked like a team that doesn't know what it's doing. And that's really hard to watch if you're a fan, but I think that you have to focus on the positives. This is a team that really likes running the football, and their quarterback is a large contributor to that as well. Now, DeQuan Finn has done well to elevate his game as a passer, but it's still a guy who likes running the football. And Penny Boone's ability to step up and be that go-to bell cow has helped the Rockets tremendously. So that's definitely something that I'm keeping my eye on. That's definitely something that I know will have a big impact on this game. And it'd be really fun to watch how this rushing attack can attack Miami of Ohio, but also how does DeQuan Finn open things up with his arm as well. The defense has been interesting too. I think you have a ton of talent on that side of the ball. It's just that it's been kind of inconsistent at times. So you're facing a number of teams that will give you trouble, and the MAC is very entertaining this year because of the depth of the conference. So finding ways to play consistently and get your defense on track because this offense can score points. We've seen that so far this year. A team that's averaging nearly 37 points a game, but you're also seeing a defense that's allowing 5.2 yards per play. So finding a way to find that balance and get off to a hot start because we didn't see that against Ball State and it was a nail biter, a 13-6 win. But if you're able to see certain games like UMass, if you can see the Western Michigan comeback, this offense has the ability to put up points in a hurry. And I think that's what helps Toledo the most in this game. Now, a surprise for the MAC this year has been Miami of Ohio, and it's their defense that really has stepped up in a big way. I think that we knew the offense had the potential to be solid, and they have been solid this year. Brett Gabbert has established himself as the starting quarterback once again, and the pass catchers, I think, have been a big surprise. I think a lot of unknowns were coming into this year, and so far, this passing attack has stepped up in a big way. Still a good running team as well, but it's the passing attack that has really surprised me. Now, when you look at this defense, I think guys like Brian Ugu have really played well, and that's been a big factor in their success. When you look at the Western Michigan game is probably not a great example, though they did. It felt like they were in control for the most part in the 34-21 win. The two games for that, they beat a Bowling Green team 27-0, a Bowling Green team that just beat Georgia Tech the week before and it looked extremely explosive. They shut them down. Kent State obviously beating them 23-3 isn't as impressive given Kent State's struggles, but they did only allow 3 points. Then Delaware State, 62-20. The Cincinnati win is probably the most surprising result in the MAC so far this year. I think that nobody really expected Miami, Ohio to come away with that win. I think everyone expected Cincinnati, even though we thought Cincinnati would struggle in the Big 12, we thought that they would be just fine. But there's always that chance in a rivalry game that weird things could happen, and the Red Hawks found a way to win. Now they're looking to do the same thing to Toledo. I think a lot of people expect Toledo to win this game, which Miami, Ohio is fine doing. They are fine being the underdog, and they are fine being in that position. There's a lot of matchups that I'm really excited about. The ability for Miami, Ohio to contain DeQuan Finn will be a big key. DeQuan Finn is so explosive as a dual threat, and his ability to throw the football probably determines how well Toledo does. This is a Toledo team that goes as far as he takes them, and so far he's done a good job of balancing out this offense. And like I said, his ability to throw the football over the past 2 years has been the biggest elevating factor for this offense. And giving him time to throw, especially against this Miami, Ohio front seven, will be a big key. I think Matthew Solopek and Brian Ugu will be big contributors for Miami, Ohio. And guys like Nick Rossi, if they're able to keep him keep Daquan Finn upright and allow him to make plays with both his arms and his legs, you're looking at an offense that will have the advantage over Miami Ohio's defense. I think the wide receivers will play a big role as well. But when you look at the defense, the secondary for Toledo to me is going to be tested. A guy like Rick Gabbert, who's playing really well, will test players like Kenyon Mitchell and Nate Bauer. There's plenty of options for Toledo to throw at the Red Hawks, but Brett Gabbert is a veteran who knows what he's doing. He knows what it takes to win football games. And throwing to guys like Joe Wilkins Jr., who's a big body, will definitely test Toledo's secondary. I think Wilkins is a big time playmaker, and he's just one of a few guys that can step up. So Wilkins is someone who I think will give a lot of mismatches and give the Rockets something to consider in terms of how do they switch up their coverage? Do they need to be worried about him more so than anybody else? That will be something I'm keeping an eye on. Keys of the game for Toledo, it goes with the quarterback. A balanced attack is the smartest way to do this because Miami Ohio knows that Toledo is wants to run the football. They are a run first team, and that's okay. Finding a way to also pass the ball efficiently will be a huge key for the Rockets. And that's going to be something I keep an eye on because if Toledo can find balance, I don't know if Miami, Ohio has the firepower to keep up. For the Rockets defense, disruptive plays. Yes, Brett Gabbert and this offense have played well, but the easiest way to slow that down is disruptive plays. I think they have playmakers up front that can do that. So that will be an interesting option for this defense is how their ability to get in the backfield and slow down what Miami Ohio wants to do is really where that stands out to me. I think that Daquan Finn's decision making is really what it comes down to because the Red Hawks know that they want to run the football, and Finn is one of those guys that still has to earn the respect from a lot of teams, whether that's fair or not. I think that teams know that he is a good runner and they know that he's improved as a passer. But if they're going to pick one to die by, they're going to pick him trying to carve them up with his arm. They know that that is not the biggest strength of his game, and they would rather see him take off, try to beat them over the top than try to let him run the football and run all over them. And I think that's a smart decision for Miami, Ohio, and the other teams try to do. But I think right now, DeQuan Finn's playing at such a good level, it might not matter which one they decide to do. Containing him will be the biggest key for the Red Hawks. If they're able to slow him down, then you slow that offense down. Now, yes, the rushing attack appears to be just fine, even if DeQuan Finn isn't doing what he needs to do. But if they're able to contain the quarterback, that gives you a huge advantage that you didn't have before. Winning at the point of attack, whether that's at the line of scrimmage or in the passing game, if they're at the catch point or whatnot, the point of attack anywhere is really what's going to help them. And for Miami, Ohio, you have to treat this as business as usual. Just like you did against Cincinnati. Yes, it was a rivalry game, but you can't get too hyped for this game. You can't overthink it. You can't get overexcited. You have to find a way to just treat this like a business trip. And if you're able to do that, then you'll keep a level head and you won't get upset when DeQuan Finn breaks off a big play or when something doesn't go your way. The Red Hawks have proven that they can handle adversity and can beat teams that are better than them. It's just a matter of, like I said, keeping a level head and just treating it like it's another game. The quarterbacks to me play the biggest role. I think that's going to be a huge key for both sides is what do these quarterbacks do to help their teams? Brett Gabbert has a ton of experience, as does DeQuan Finn. These two know what it takes to win in the MAC. And it'll be fun to see what they can do against each other because these defenses are much improved than what we expected coming into the year. And both of these guys I think are capable of making big plays with their arm. And then I think Finn is the more proven runner, though Gabbert is a runner when he needs to be. So when you're picking a winner here, to me, Miami of Ohio is the more consistent team. Obviously, they have the loss to Miami from Florida, but no one really expected them to win that game. That was a game we kind of just said, okay, we knew that was going to be a loss. Just kind of it was how do they respond going forward? And so far they have played really well. They are the more level team. Toledo is the more volatile team for sure, but the ceiling for Toledo to me is higher than what Miami has. It's just a matter of how does this team keep things close. And Miami, Ohio, I think playing at that level is what they need to do. They need to be able to keep things composed and not let Toledo and this offense break out. If they're able to handle what we've seen over the last couple weeks, which has been an underwhelming performance from the Quan Finn, then I think that they're in good hands. And honestly, the more I look at this, the more I trust Miami, Ohio to get the job done. Toledo is definitely a good team, but I think the Red Hawks are just more consistent. And that's the reason I think that they win this game. I think that Toledo is definitely capable of winning this game, but it's going to require them to be more at that ceiling than obviously at their floor. And I think that the consistency of the Red Hawks is really the difference in this game.